Hello, hello, Facebook people. Hi, welcome to my Facebook Live interview with Bailey Barber on how to heal after a breakup. I'm just waiting for Bailey to appear and then I'm going to invite her to join me. Please bear with me if I faff around on here because I have not actually done an interview or added anybody onto a Facebook Live before. So this is going to be very new for me. I might be like pressing buttons. So yeah, we're going to be talking about how to heal after a breakup. And so for those of you who are going through something like that, maybe you've recently gone through a breakup. Hey Jem, who've recently gone through a breakup, this will be really useful to you. Or if you've actually, not long ago gone through it and you're maybe still struggling to kind of get over things, then this would also be beneficial to you as well. Now I am just waiting for Bailey. I've seen that I've had a missed call on my messenger. Oh, there she is. Hey Bailey. I'm gonna bring you on and we'll get going. Okay, hold on. Oh, I think she's gone. Let me see. Yeah. Here we go. Let's see. Bear with. If you're in the UK and you watch Miranda, you'll know what I mean. Okay, I've seen you. Oh, okay. Are you here? Yay!
Here.
Hello.
Hello. How
Was
are
that you trying to
you?
ring me? I feel
Yeah,
like someone was
I
calling
didn't.
me.
That was on accident. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's all right. I was like, I can't
So,
come out now to chat.
yeah. No. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how to get on the live. But I'm here now, so we
Yeah,
did it.
yeah, we did it. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to
Thank
my
you.
first interview, my first ever guest. Yay!
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right. So thank you for
So great
joining
to be
me.
here.
Yeah, so I was
Oh,
just
yeah.
telling folks that we are going to be talking about how to heal after a breakup and how it's going to be really useful for people who are going through that now or recently have gone through it, but also maybe who are still sort of struggling to move forward and to heal after the breakup. So I'd love for you to just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, a bit about you, how does this all work for you?
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. So my name is Bailey, and my background is in nursing. I was a nurse practitioner for about 15 years, so I've always kind of been in the healing arts field. And about 7 years ago, my marriage of almost a little over, we were together for a little over a decade, married to my college sweetheart ended, and I went on this massive healing journey. I was really, really lost at the time and was trying to find myself. I really tried because my natural and training, it was in nursing. I was trying to heal and help myself so much, and I couldn't figure out how to make myself better. And I tried all the things, yoga, meditation, kind of everything that you can think of to help yourself, acupuncture, kinesiology, excuse me, and really struggled for a while until I found Reiki, which is really transformed my healing journey in my life. And so now I am a Reiki master teacher, and I help other women who are healing from divorce or breakup, so that they don't have to go on the crazy, stressful, intense healing journey that I experienced. So I share with them and teach them the tools that will really get them out of that low place in their life and help them to evolve and grow, and to the point where they are able to make that next chapter of their life their best chapter of their life.
Awesome,
So
amazing.
thank you, Jem.
Yeah, that's all good
Thanks so
comment.
much.
Yeah, that is really amazing, and it's kind of like really helping to sort of shortcut that for them, isn't it? Like to short circuit so they don't have to be trying to figure out how do I do this, but it's like, hey, I can help you
Yeah,
get there quicker. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because it's kind of it's still, even though at least in America, I'm from the US, like half of marriages end in divorce, but it
Mm,
still has this kind of like taboo thing around it, which, is definitely lessening. Um, so there's not really a ton of, at least when I was going through it, resources, and especially I was quite young. I was, well, relatively young. I was in my early 30s. And so that's primarily, I work with women who are like millennial age, because most of my friends were still getting married or
mm,
having kids. So
mm,
it wasn't really like I had a lot of peers that were going through the similar thing. I didn't really have any, support in that way. So,
mm.
um, so yeah, I am here to help and be a way shower for women who are struggling on that journey. So,
Yeah, amazing, brilliant. Tell us, what would you say are like the important factors in terms of like healing after breakup? What kind of like things would you recommend people to do to move forward?
okay, yeah. So one of the most important things, but also it's quite simple, but it also is challenging, is to forgive ourselves and to forgive the other person, because no matter what happens in your relationship, there's always, it takes two to tango, and
Mm,
no one is always 100% in the wrong, and no one's always 100% in the right. There's always some kind of thing going on there, some dynamic. And regardless of what that is, if you can forgive yourself, the other person, and the situation, it doesn't mean that what they did or what's happened is right. It's
mm,
just taking that burden off of you. And yeah, Jim, so true. Yeah, and it's taking that burden off of you and freeing you to move forward in your healing, because we all know people who they've had a big breakup, and you can see in their lives they're holding on to so much resentment. And
mm,
I love the quote. Well, I don't love it, but it's so true. Like, resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else, the other person, to
yeah.
die. And so, when we're holding on to that, as hard as it can be to let that go sometimes, and I know it can be
Mm,
really hard. But and it's not something that you do all at once. Like, healing in general is like, it goes a bit like this and this
mm,
and this and this,
yeah,
or I
yeah,
like the analogy of like the layers of the onion as well, because oftentimes we pull off a little bit and then we're like, oh, there's a bit more
yeah.
in there. So um, but yeah, so that would be a big one. And then also self-love and developing, compassion for yourself. And it's self-love, in my view, isn't, being like, oh, I love myself. And I'm not telling
Mm,
people to become a narcissist or anything like that, but it's loving yourself like where you are in that
mm,
moment, and
mm,
honoring, who you are and what you need in that moment. Because so many times, especially as women, we're so trained, to by society to be like, give, 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 give,
mm,
and we never really take that time for ourselves. So when you're healing from a breakup, giving yourself that time and space, excuse me, to develop that self love, because it's something that we're not really taught.
mm,
It's becoming
mm,
more of a, there's more of a conversation around it, but it's not something that, a lot of us were brought up with the
mm,
idea of self love. And it's usually the opposite of like, oh no, you should be doing all this for others and be doing all the things. Um, and then, yeah, the third thing would be really to really kind of focus on yourself, on your healing journey, and not try to rush into the next relationship or
mm,
sweep your emotions under the rug. This was something that I really struggled with. And I have clients that do as well, because nobody really wants to feel bad. Like, we don't want to feel those heavy emotions. But when we distract ourselves with, whether it's, like spiritual bypassing
mm,
or going out and socializing or going out drinking or partying to distract ourselves or having, lots of one night stands. Like, there's nothing wrong with any of that.
Mm,
And I think there is like some, kind of, it's nice to be kind of out and exploring that side of you again when you've been in a relationship. But when we go too far in that direction
mm,
and we don't actually sit with those emotions, and I love the quote, you have to feel to heal. You
mm.
really have to, let them, and it's not that you have to sit in those emotions, and really you
Yeah.
shouldn't. Excuse me, but you want to let, experience them, and give yourself grace and time to heal, and really nurture yourself in that period of your life. And it really is, and really can be just a period, just a phase. Our life is full of different chapters. And so, the healing chapter, especially when you really focus on yourself and you really take responsibility for your healing, it doesn't have to be something, that lasts for years. It can be a
Mm,
relatively fast process. Um, and that's one of the reasons why I love Reiki so much. Is it's a
mm,
really amazing modality to help you deal with those heavy emotions on like a gentler level. Because when you do or receive Reiki, when you're really, really struggling and feeling those emotions, it allows them to move through you faster, and lifts your energy and cleanses your energy much faster. So
mm.
so yeah,
Absolutely.
those would be my three biggest tips or recommendations if when you're healing. We could probably be here all day having the chats about this, but
No, it's
it's
great. Thank you for sharing
yeah,
that.
thanks for
Yeah. And
yeah.
I completely hear that. And hi Jazz and hi Melina. Um yeah, I completely hear that and resonate with it. I know that when I went through quite a it was such a weird situation. It was a situationship. It was like a part-time relationship, but it was just one of those ones that kind of was so significant for me. And
Mhm.
I just remember when I finally called time on it, just the
Mhm.
hey dad was just the way it was so hard to kind of really move forward, um, because it was that back and forth. You were talking about the onion, but it definitely felt
Mhm.
like a pendulum for me.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
it's like 1 minute I'm like, right, bastard, like, totally glad that this is over. You did
Oh
achieve, like,
yeah.
everything, and then you're just like, oh, I miss him. And then you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I should just message him. Maybe because I just want to, and a lot of it is actually just sort of validation and wanting to feel wanted and wanting someone to feel like
Yeah.
they made a mistake and they want you back, and actually deep down that it's the right thing to do, but
Yeah.
it's so hard because then you're also now about to move into what you say is another chapter as well, because you're just coming
Yeah.
out of that familiarity of all that stuff that was, and now you've got to now,
Mm.
and also there's that fear of starting again, isn't there, of
Mhm.
having to start
Yeah.
that build up again with somebody else,
Yeah.
and that's the last thing you want. So sometimes you do want to cling on to the past simply
Yeah.
because all that newness is really scary too.
Yeah.
So I totally hear that, and I do 100% really appreciate that you shared about forgiveness, because it's so important. But sometimes people
Mhm.
get confused with what forgiveness means, and they think it means, well, if I forgive him, then that means that I'm saying it's okay how he behaved, and it's like you're
Mhm.
not. You're
Mhm.
setting yourself free.
Mhm.
you know it's actually really more about you, and being able to kind of
Mhm.
release the shackles of that experience and of that person's behavior on you. Do you know what I mean? You've got to
Mhm.
let that go, and 100% forgive yourself for the things where you did mess up, because we will always mess up, and it might not
Mm.
even sometimes be how we treated them, but sometimes it's also about how we allowed them to treat us.
Yes,
That's
that is
another
so
side of it.
so big.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the guilt that goes around that of like, well, oh, what if I acted different? Maybe we wouldn't have broken
Yeah.
up, or maybe this wouldn't have been this situation. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's huge. Very,
Yeah,
very big.
definitely. And we do need to have compassion on ourselves for that, and for where we are at, exactly, because it's a process, isn't it? It's an actual
Mm.
process, and it does get easier.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it at first, but it does. And then you look back and you're just like, God, I can barely even remember what that was like. Like, I was doing a bit of research, and I was going through, I had this like breakup diary, So when I was going
Mm.
through this situation, I would type it down. So I didn't want it to be written down anyway in case anyone found it. So on my
Oh
Google
yeah.
Drive, I have all these single
That's
like Google Docs,
a
and I
great
date
idea,
it. So
actually.
when I was feeling away, I would just go and I feel like this and didn't. Oh, today I'm sad. Oh, today I'm feeling good. Oh, whatever. But it was so funny reading through it all and feeling, remembering like how I felt. But I was just like, God, that's just so long ago, and I'm so unaffected by it now. So unaffected.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But at the
yeah.
time, it meant so much.
Mm.
So it is hard to believe that you will get there, but you will get there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
Jen laughing at me.
yeah.
Yeah.
There is there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It is there. Yeah, it's so hard, especially when you're in the thick of it, and because the emotions are very heavy, and
Mm,
we're like, for a lot of people it can be the first time that they've had those emotions of, like, for me a big one that came up was shame,
mm,
and I didn't
mm,
even
mm,
know what it was, or what. I just knew, I grew up, we were from a small town and everyone knew each other, and you went to the grocery store and you saw like everyone you graduated high school with, and I could not go back there. I didn't even want to go back to the States at all, and I didn't for
mm,
like a year afterwards. And yeah, it's just, and now that I have moved through that and I know more about, like, the healing process and all of that, I know what shame is, and but at the time I wasn't really equipped to know what it was, or
mm.
what I was feeling, or how to process it. So yeah, it's it's definitely sorry. It's
Wow.
definitely it is a process. And again, going back to that's why self-love is so important, because we can be really hard on ourselves, because it
Yeah.
can be like, okay, why am I not over this yet? Like, it could be like maybe 2 years, out, and something comes up that like triggers you, and you're like, oh wait, what's going
Mm,
on here? And
mm,
it's that, having that compassion and self-love to be like, oh, okay, it's okay. Like, I haven't maybe encountered this trigger, or we get going in our new lives or our daily
mm.
lives, and we kind of don't really, you don't even really want to focus on it, because
Yeah.
it can start to make you feel bad again. But yeah, it is a process, but it is, yeah, it's like you just wake up one day, and like the last time I went home to where we were from in Florida, I was like, this is great. This is amazing. And I wanted
Mm,
to like meet up with old friends and have my old
yeah.
spouse like come all meet up, because we had a pretty good like ending of our relationship. And some of my friends were like, I'm glad that you're at that phase of your healing process, but like,
Mm,
I am not ready to be in the same, environment.
mm.
I'm not mature enough to do that yet, or something. I was like, okay. So I was like, well, I guess I'm doing good then, if that's what you're
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love
Um,
that. Hey,
yeah.
Coco. I think she joined us. Hello, love. And that's interesting what you were saying about, not wanting to focus on it. But what could be the downside of not actually like
Mm.
properly healing before like moving forward, maybe either moving into another relationship or just generally for your future? What could be the downside of not healing?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we take, all of that kind of, I don't really like the word baggage, but like, we do take, whether that's, you look at it energetically, like those heavy emotions that we're carrying around, because that's basically what's coloring our view of the
Mm,
world, is like
mhm,
those emotions that we have within us, and those, whether if it's resentment or fear, excuse me, or anxiety that you haven't, or grief that you haven't dealt with yet. And so if you go into a new relationship, say, you're going to be looking at that relationship from the lens of what happened in your previous relationship. So
mm,
you can
100.
bring all of that with you. And, that is one of the kind of silver linings of a breakup, is
Mm,
that it's a very challenging time, but it's also a huge opportunity for us to evolve
mm,
and grow into like kind of the next version of ourselves. And because we learn so much, you know, about ourselves, about other people, about what we want, what we don't want in our next
Mm.
relationship. So, you know, I really think sorry, I'm getting over a cold here.
I know it's
Um,
all right.
I really think, and you know, it's really important to focus on yourself and heal. And that way, when you go into that next relationship, you are bringing your best self forward for that new person. And, you know, you're creating the next chapter of your life to be, you know, ideally the best chapter of your life, because
Mm,
you have all that wisdom that you've brought with you from,
mm,
you know, what happened, what went wrong in, you know, your previous relationship, and you're so much wiser now because you know how to navigate, you know, because no relationship is perfect. There's
mm,
always going to be, you know, things that you have to work out. That's just part of the give and take of relationships. So once you know who you are, then you're able to bring that to the next person that you want to be in a relationship with. And figuring out who you are is a part of the healing journey as well, is coming back to yourself. So
yeah,
yeah, it's very
definitely.
important.
Yeah,
Not
I
not
love that.
always fun or easy to do, but
Mm, I know.
yeah.
And I think, hi Gus, Gus joined us. And I think
Hello.
sometimes it feels like such a scary time, or we'd rather avoid it. But actually, there is so much growth in that time.
Mm.
And you know, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm such a lover of growth. So I do love to grow, like love
Yeah.
to have the self-awareness. Oh, what's happening for me now? Okay, or what was that about? Or why did I do that? And you
Yeah.
know, how can I show up differently next time? How can I be a better partner? How can I choose a better
Yeah.
partner? You know,
Yeah.
based on obviously this relationship hadn't worked for these reasons. I hadn't seen that before, but now I'm more aware, you know, and that's one of the things I do love is that clarity about, you
Mm.
know, what was I missing? You know, what was
Mm-hmm.
it that I didn't like? What was it that I did love and I'd love to have again? You know, there's all of
Mm-hmm.
that stuff to look at in order to kind of
Mm-hmm.
move forward and like go
Mm-hmm.
forward with your eyes a bit wide open as well. So, you know, there's always that. And I also am a believer of never even really regretting anything that's happened or whoever I was
Yeah.
with, because it all like, you know, kind of contributes to my character
Mm.
now, to my journey throughout life. And, you
100%.
know, that's what it was meant to be at the time for me. And
Mm-hmm.
everything that I did at the time, the decisions I made were with what I knew at the time, was with the knowledge I had
Yeah.
and everything like that. So
Yeah.
that's it, you know, you can't, you know, and there's no point beating yourself up about that either, because that's just how it was. So yeah, it is growth.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like growth then, but when you get to the other side, you're like, oh wow, and you've got this sort of new version of you. And like
Yeah.
you said, I really love how you do use the word chapter, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like a book, isn't it? Our whole life is almost like a book. Like
Yeah.
just there's this chapter, like, you know, at school, and then secondary, and then college,
Yeah.
and then you know, and it's just another chapter. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, what's this gonna bring? The pain can be real, but it'll fade. It'll
Yeah.
fade with time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
so that's amazing.
I think, yeah, no, I 100% agree. And the, I think looking at it as like, you know, reframing it from like, oh my God, like the world is ending. This is the, you know, worst thing ever, to
Mm.
like, and I went back and forth with this a lot when I was on my own. It was like, oh my God, yay, I'm free. This is amazing. To like, oh my God,
What
this
about
is terrifying, which is totally normal and
yeah,
like
100%.
bound. Yeah. But it is, you know, really reframing it as, you know, a breakup as like a huge opportunity for you, because whether we're, you know, depending on your relationship, you know, there's always some type of sacrifice that you're going to be making, usually, or give and take. So it's like once you don't have that person anymore to be kind of managing your life around, you get to
Mm.
take full control over your life and really start to explore the things that you've always, you know, wanted to do, or maybe it's a new thing that you're interested in and you just didn't have the time or the space, you know, to explore that in your in your former relationship. So
Mm.
yeah, that's the big opportunity or big silver lining, behind. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah, definitely. And Jem said, yeah, everything happens for me, not to me, which keeps
yes,
her helping her move through
yes,
it.
exactly.
Definitely. I hear that. Yeah.
Exactly. And another affirmation, because that's a big part of my work is using
Mm,
affirmations, that I love is everything is always working out for me for my
mm,
highest good.
mm,
Because there can be, things that happen and you're like, oh my God, what the heck is happening? But when
mm,
you reframe it like that, it's like, oh, well, maybe, and it's something that I've really learned along the way of like kind of the trial and error life experience is like, when I look at things like this, you have the opportunity or the option to look at it the kind of negative way or,
mm,
or the lower road or the higher road. And
mm,
whenever you look at something from the higher perspective, it starts to pull in all the other elements into your life that are match that higher perspective. So,
definitely.
um,
Yeah.
so yeah, we have a choice. So
Yeah.
the
It's
choice is
so
up to
true.
us.
Yeah. That is it. And I think sometimes we have to be mindful that it's not like all the external stuff, isn't it? It's like, oh, he made me feel like this, or the relationship made me feel like this. It's
Mm,
like, okay, well, that's happened, but now what are you going to do about it? We 100%
mm-hmm,
always have choice, and we can. And I fully believe something I'm really big on with my women is you can create the life that you want, you create the love life that you want, you create the relationship experience you want. It's all within you. We have
mm-hmm,
so much power that we don't realize that we focus too much on
mm-hmm.
those external circumstances and and that
100%.
keep us stuck, that always keep us stuck. But to take back your power, um
Yeah.
and to move yourself forward.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
100
love
love it,
it.
baby.
I love it.
Yes, says
Yes,
Jem.
Jem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Jem loves
I
it
did.
too.
Yeah, she does. Now we just, we've only got 3 minutes. I wanted to ask you about Reiki, but I'm conscious of the time. We've only got a few
Oh,
minutes
okay.
left. So perhaps we'll have to come back to that another time because I'm always curious about Reiki. I've never tried it myself.
All
Um,
right.
could you
Okay.
explain it in about 60 seconds before because I don't want to
Yeah.
hold you. I know we've got
Yeah.
to, yeah.
No, that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. So Reiki is a Japanese healing modality, but it's energy healing is, and Reiki is a type of energy healing. Energy healing's been around since the dawn of time, basically. And everything, we know everything is energy. We have, energy is, it's like this life force energy is all around us and within us. And when we go through, trauma or stress or illness, our energy levels, it's like a battery. Our battery starts to get drained, and we can have also like stored negative or trauma in our body that can cause our natural energy patterns to get stuck or blocked. And so the practice of Reiki, when you work with Reiki energy, it allows your body to rebalance those energy stores. So it's like filling your battery back up. And then it's also helping to remove and clear any, emotional or mental trauma or blockages that have been from, like say you went through a big, yeah, yeah, exactly, Jen. Yeah. All three of those, yeah. And they're all related because, when we have stress, it causes dis-ease in the body. That anxiety is dis-ease in the body. And if it lasts for too long, it ends up manifesting as disease in the body. So Reiki is like, it's almost like your energetic oil change. Like
Okay.
you can get it done, to have a Reiki practice. And that's what I teach with my clients is to teach them self Reiki, because anyone can learn Reiki and it's super easy, but when you have that connection, you can keep your body and your mind and your spirit balanced yourself, and which is so, so important, and especially when you're on a healing journey. And it's not like going to therapy where you have to like talk about your, what happened and all of that. And actually, they're showing now that can actually re-trigger all those same areas of the brain that makes your body think you're going through that trauma all over again. So
Yeah.
Reiki allows you to heal without, excuse me, having to talk about all of those things. I mean, it is good to have community and talk about what you're experiencing, but sometimes it's not helpful to be going back through everything over and over again. So it helps to rebalance your energy. It helps to remove any trauma or kind of energetic blockages that are going on. And it also, on a physical level, it helps with promotes healing. So, people who get regular Reiki treatments, maybe they're like experiencing pain. It has a really, really lot of benefits for people with chronic pain. A lot of people who have chronic conditions get regular Reiki and then they come off of their chronic, condition medication like diabetes or high blood
Mm.
pressure or, high cholesterol, because so much of those chronic conditions are stress related. They now know that 95% of disease is stress related, only 5 is actually genetically related. So,
Oh,
um,
amazing.
it's having a stress relief modality in your back pocket, even if you're not healing from a
Yeah.
breakup, is
Yeah.
pretty handy these days. So, um, yeah, that is Reiki in a little more than 60
Yeah.
seconds.
Well, no, thank you. That's really lovely to hear because I've always been curious about it as well. I've definitely thought about, trying it because I'm very big into energy and are energetic
Hmm.
and the importance of it. And we pick up on other people's energy, we put energy out there, it's
Yeah,
all the things. So,
yeah,
I do feel like there could be something where I could do with a good cleanse myself, I'm sure. And who knows what
yeah,
would shift in my world as a result of that. So,
yeah.
so that'd be amazing. Um,
Yeah, well, I have a YouTube channel where I post regular distance Reiki healing videos,
Cool.
which
Oh,
are really, really powerful. It's not as like personalized as a private one-on-one session,
yeah.
but the distance Reiki sessions, like on YouTube, there's a lot of creators out there, and they're very powerful. Like, that's how I kind of got into that, was because I was using them for my own healing, and
Mm,
then it was then the pandemic came and I couldn't work with people one to one.
mm.
So I started making these YouTube videos, and I get a lot of really good positive feedback. So it's just like a meditation kind of, that you can listen to. So yeah, it's a good way to
Okay.
kind of like dabble and get,
Yeah, and
exposed to it
test
and
it
try it
out.
out. So
Lovely. Well, if
yeah,
you can drop your link in either in the comments or just send it to me and I'll add it to this description because I think that would
yeah,
be great for people to check out if they're
yeah,
interested in knowing a bit more about it. So that'd be lovely. And
yeah,
I'm conscious of
yeah.
time. I know somewhere to go.
Oh,
But just before you do, can you just tell us if you've got any programs or offers or anything like that in your world?
yeah. Yeah, I am actually launching my new program, which is called Heal to Thrive. Thank you, Jem. And yeah, so Heal to Thrive is an 8-week healing program where you receive regular distance Reiki healing sessions with me, and then you'll be learning how to use Reiki on yourself. You become attuned to Reiki, and it's also learning about how to reprogram our subconscious beliefs that are keeping us stuck on our healing journey. And there's also a big component is learning and cultivating self-love. So it's basically an 8-week healing container that
Mm,
provides immediate healing relief and kind of gives you a jump start on your healing journey, but then teaches you the tools that you will have for the rest of your life, to heal from your breakup or your divorce that you're going through now, but
mm,
also have those tools to help you navigate life, because life is life. So
mm,
it's giving women the tools to empower them so that they can approach life from a place of calm resilience,
mm.
and feel like they have the tools to kind of be able to navigate everything. So so yeah, that is, if
Sounds really
people are
good.
interested,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really excited about it. if people are interested, they are welcome to send me a DM on Instagram. My handle there, I can put it, I can link
Yeah,
that below as well, but
yeah,
it's
well, yeah,
Bailey Barber Reiki. So yeah,
brilliant.
but yeah, I'm really excited.
And quick
It's like
question: Is
my
it one?
baby.
Is it a one-to-one? Just wanted to quick. Is
Yeah,
it one-to-one as opposed to group? Is it a one-to-one
it
um
is
program?
group,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
there is because especially with this kind of work, because I know the power of having like group, bringing women experience, especially experiencing similar,
Mm.
things together and having that community. But there is the people who enroll in it will receive um, one-on-one sessions with me as well throughout it as well.
Lovely. That
So
sounds
there's group
amazing.
healings
Mm.
and then one-on-one
The
healings
one
as
on
well.
Brilliant.
So yeah.
Thank you. That sounds fantastic.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
we'll put your
Thank
handle
you.
here so people can follow it, like come and DM you if they're interested. And thank you so much for being
Yeah.
here. Thank you. It's been
Yeah,
a
thank
really
you
great
for having
conversation. Not
me.
at
Yeah,
all.
this was
Yeah,
great.
I've loved
Thanks
it.
so much.
So,
So, and yeah, thank you
and
for
thank you.
everyone who joined
Yeah.
and all your lovely comments. And it was great to be with you all. So,
Mm.
yeah,
Thank you. Yeah. And thanks,
thank
Jen,
you.
for her great job, lady.
Yeah, thank you, Jen.
All right, lovely. I will speak to you soon. Thank you so
Okay,
much. Cheers, Jen.
yeah, you
All right.
too. Take care.
Take
Have a
care.
lovely weekend.
You too, my dear. Bye.
Bye.